Alright, what's up YouTube? This is week 2, mock draft 2. Let's get into it. So first up, the Raiders. They're going Mendoza. It's locked in. There's the only way that Mendoza's not this pick is if something happens with Mendoza and they don't like it. They're not going to trade. They're not going to take somebody else that's Mendoza. Second up, we got the Jets. I think this team has so many holes. They do have a QB problem. They need QB, but I think Ty Simpson's way too early here. I think overall you go best player available, and that's between Bain and Reese. And I think for that team with Quincy Williams done, they don't have a lot of linebacker depth. They have two edge rushers right now. I think you bring in Arvell Reese. Third up, you got another team with a lot of holes. As you can see, the team needs majority of their O-line. They need a quarterback. They need a wide receiver, corner. I could always see them going best player available with Bain, but I think with their offensive needs, it starts in the trenches, and I think Mauigoa helps them. He has the versatility to play both sides of the offensive line. He can play guard. He can play tackle. And I think that's what the Cardinals need, is to build up the trenches. Titans at 4. For me, this is either you get best player available in Bain and get Robert Saleh, his edge rusher. You could also say Downs is best player available. I think it's very high for safety at this point. I don't think they're going to go Love. I think they do want to get Cam Ward help, though. That wide receiver room was not good last year. Calvin Ridley's not going to cut it. You have a lot of young pieces at wide receiver, but not a lot of young talent. I wouldn't say it's young talent, but it's not a talent like Carnell Tate, and I think Carnell Tate fits that roster well. So we're going to go Carnell Tate at 4 to the Titans. 5 here with the Giants. Bain is best player available, but they have 3 good edge rushers right now, and the most likely one will get traded, and that's probably Thibodeau. But we're not going to predict that. I think they do have needs on offense. They need a wide receiver. And I think with Tate off the board, I don't think they're going to go Tyson. I don't think they're going to go Lemon. I think you move towards the offensive line and you take a highly coveted offensive tackle in Fano, who can also play guard for you if you have a Luminor back. So I think Fano fits the Giants there at 5. 6, we have the Browns. I think the Browns are looking for offensive help. That offense was horrible last year. You're not going to go Love. You have 2 running backs. I don't think you go Simpson. I think you let it ride with Shedeur for one more year and see where that goes. I think next up is wide receiver, and you can look at Tyson or you could look at Lemon. Those are those top 2 guys for me, and I think Lemon's versatility, playing everywhere and not having that injury concerns that Tyson does, I think that's why Lemon is taken at 6 to the Browns. 7, the Commanders. Got Ruben Bain on the board. You take him. Commanders need help on that defense. They need edge rusher. They need a lot of positions on that defense. They need to get to the passer. And I think Ruben Bain, while also having the ability to stay in the game as a run defender, his pass rush is elite. And that will help the Commanders at 7. 8, I think the Saints need a lot of help, and they definitely need offensive help. Tyson is a good option, opposite of Olave. But you also have Jeremiah Love on the board, and I think with the Chiefs picking at 9 and the potential of not getting Breece Hall in free agency, you don't know where these free agent running backs are going to go, and a lot of them are coming off the board this past week with Javonte Williams signing that extension with the Cowboys. I think Breece Hall is most likely back with the Jets, even if it's not by his own will. So I think Jeremiah Love at 8 with that Kellen Moore offense who relies heavily on the run game. I think Jeremiah Love fits in New Orleans. 9, the Chiefs would have loved Jeremiah Love at 9. I think it would have been the perfect fit for him, having Patrick Mahomes, Jeremiah Love, and those receivers would have been an elite offense. But now you have to pivot, and I think you focus on rebuilding that defense. And I think David Bailey being on the board still at 9 is shocking. So you take the elite explosive pass rusher at 9. Move on to the Bengals here at 10. The Bengals have so many issues, especially on their defense. And the Bengals have a specific way of drafting. They don't typically move around a lot. They draft high, like, big-time college athletes who test well and have the numbers. So I think Downs, Styles, Falk, Peter Woods are all on the board here, and I think the best out of all of them is Caleb Downs. They have Jordan Battle there, so they do need another safety. And I think Downs being a safety, this is drafting him pretty high. But I think for his talent, it is well deserved. Got the Dolphins, who are just releasing everybody. They released Tyreek Hill, they released Bradley Chubb. They're apparently trying to shop Minka. They're just trying to hit a complete reset with Jeff Hafley here. Their cornerstone pieces are both on the offensive side of the ball, so I think you need to move towards the defense. And why not go with the best corner in all of college football last year? Take Mansour Delane here. One of the best cover guys, and that is a great start to a potential corner room, DB room rebuild that it looks like it will take a long time in Miami. So Mansour Delane here at 11. 12, Dallas. Dallas is looking for another pass rusher, edge rusher. You trade Micah away, you bring in Ezraku, and you have other guys who are on cheap deals, 1-year deals. I think you go and get a guy who you can have there long term, at least for 4 years, who knows, 5, with the 5th-year option. Keldrick Falk is a great player out of Auburn. Auburn had a down year, but still, I think Keldrick Falk at 12 would fit very well with the Cowboys with what they're trying to do. They're trying to be able to stop the run. You have Saquon in Philly. You have Jaden Daniels and his running ability in Washington. You have the Giants' up-and-coming roster here in New York. You have to be able to stop the run in the NFC East. So Keldrick Falk being there with his size is what Dallas needs here at 12. 13 with the Rams. The Rams, almost all of their corners are free agents after this season. I don't know if Akella Witherspoon maybe resigns. McCreary's a free agent. And Kobe Durant is also a free agent. So you have to go after a corner. And Jermod McCoy was the best corner in all of college football 2 years ago. Suffered that ACL injury, but he should come back even if he's 3/4 of the player that he was 2 years ago in college, he is still very worth this 13th overall pick for the Rams, who need corner. The Ravens here at 14. You got a lot of holes. You lose your coach. I mean, you would love to take an edge rusher, but looking at the board right now, it's Akeem Messidor. Maybe Cassius Howell, or TJ Parker, but I think those are just reaches here. I think now you turn and you try to build the trenches on the offensive side, and Vega Ione out of Penn State is great. He's great at pass protection, great at run blocking. He is going to probably be Lamar Jackson's best friend, going in and filling in the hole that Tyler Linderbaum could be gone. So now you bring in Ione, who's going to fill in at guard. 15 for Tampa. I think it's been a long time coming to where the Bucs need to get Lavonte David's replacement. And who better than Sonny Styles, the best linebacker in all of college football last year. Played at Ohio State, moved from safety into linebacker, has been one of the greatest linebackers in college football the past couple years. A guy who will initially struggle in some pass coverage, much like Bobby Wagner in his late years. But if you get that development with Lavonte David as like a mentor, Sonny Styles will thrive in Tampa Bay. Jets at 16. And the Jets need a wide receiver. Jordan Tyson's on the board. You could also think, with Arvell Reese getting taken at 2, that they could be full rebuilding that defense under Aaron Glenn. But I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be there very long. You could look for Peter Woods. You could look for Avion Terrell. Just guys who you replace the superstars that you traded away last year. But I think you need to build an offense that can fit a quarterback in next year's draft. And I think Jordan Tyson at 16 is good. 17 here. The Lions. Detroit, they took a down step last year. You obviously have a lot of guys who got paid. You still are going to have to pay some guys. You probably want to look at the trenches still. Like, you could look at Caleb Lomo as a potential guy to play left tackle for you. But I wanted to change it up a little bit this time. So I'm going to actually go Peter Woods. I think getting depth at defensive tackle is very good. You're going to have him again next to Lee McNeil and next to Aiden Hutchinson. So I think Peter Woods dropping to 17 is it could very well happen. I don't think it's a guarantee that they're taking offensive line or anything, so I think it could definitely happen. Defensive tackle to the Lions. Vikings, typically I would go Avion Terrell, but I think it's very possible that we could look a different way. You have Harrison Smith is old. He's going to retire very soon. And I think it could be considered a reach, but I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, great player out of Toledo, played with Quinion, and can do the same thing that Quinion did, go to small school, Toledo, and get drafted in the first round. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is great. He is like a predator. He hits, and he hits hard. 6'3", he's probably one of, like Eamon Wari last year, that sheer size is like incredible for the safety position, and he will be great in any defense he goes to. And I just can't wait to watch him hit in the NFL, because it will be like a Cam Chancellor, like a Brian Dawkins type hitter in the NFL. Panthers here at 19. Obviously, that offense took a step last year. Defense definitely could use some help still. Offense needs help still. Bryce Young finally took that step. I think you need to get him more weapons. We kind of saw Jalen Coker take over that number 2 role from Xavier Legette, so you could trade him away. But with that lackluster tight end room, I think you just take a tight end. You just need to add talent to that pitiful tight end room. You get Sadiq, and that's just another guy that Bryce Young can throw to. Another safety blanket. And I think that would be just another way to elevate his game. Cowboys up for a second time here at pick 20. You released Trayvon Diggs. I think you go Avion Terrell. He can play in the slot. He can play in the outside. I don't know for sure where he's going to play. Inside or outside of this, like in the slot, outside corner. But either way, Cowboys need a corner. You get Keldrick Falk at 12 here. You shore up your edge room. Now you bring in a corner who can shore up the coverage end with DaRon Bland. Moving on to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh needs a tackle. Broderick Jones has not worked out. He has been very bad through his first couple years in the league. And it's not looking pretty. You're going to have to pay him soon, and you're not going to want to pay him. So I think Caleb Lomu stepping in at your left tackle spot is very helpful. Chargers at 22. Typically, I would go like Vega, Ione, or Emmanuel Pregnon. I'm going to go a different way. You got edge rushers that you have to pay, and you don't have a ton of money. I mean, you probably do, but I think bringing in another edge rusher and just letting one of those guys walk could definitely help your future. So I think a guy like TJ Parker, who can play on every down, is a guy who doesn't have to be rushed into the system, can be worked in through the year, and that's a typical thing that Harbaugh likes to do, is have multiple edge rushers. Just keep going on a rotation, and I think TJ Parker would fit in a rotation well. Eagles at 23. Eagles are in a good spot overall. They don't have a ton of necessary holes. You obviously need tight end, and you're not taking any of these guys. If Sadiq was on the board, that's a very high potential. Could take Proctor to be a setup guy or like a replacement for Lane. But I think right now the biggest hole is probably on the defense. And the whole defense is young. So, really, you don't have that many holes. I'm going to go Brandon Cisse here. He's just a great player. Overall great player. He's 21. He's young. He's explosive. And overall, he's great in coverage. I think playing in that South Carolina defense helped him, against the SEC. That's good talent to play against. And I think overall, Brandon Cisse would fit well in the Vic Fangio defense, especially with 2 all-pro corners already. on that roster. So I think being able to keep DeJean in the slot and having another guy where you can slot him outside on the outside in the CB2 role is very, very good for the Eagles overall. Browns at 24, their first pick was Mekhi Lemon. I think you have to fix your offensive line somehow. Probably 4 out of your 5 starters are not coming back this year. So I'm just taking Proctor. You can put him in at left tackle immediately. Just start him there off the rip for the year. Get a guy who can protect your quarterback, Shedeur. Give him more time because he needs it. Throwing more interceptions than touchdowns last year. He needs more time. Can't be running for his life. And hopefully Caden Proctor can be that on his blind side. Bears at 25. Bears are looking for a defensive tackle. They need something on the D-line. You have Caleb Banks, great upside. Caden McDonald's one of the best run defenders. Lee Hunter, it's great, explosive, should have a good combine. It's great on that Texas Tech defense. Georgia has Christian Miller as well. So you got 4 guys here potentially. And I think just overall the best out of those 4 and the safest pick out of those 4 is probably Caden McDonald. So that's why I'm taking him to the Bears. Next up, Bills. This is probably a very overused pick, but Denzel Boston. Getting a 6'3", 6'4" guy for Josh Allen with deep threat ability, jump up, get the ball. We've seen it before. We saw Keon Coleman. He was that jump ball receiver. But I think if ownership and coaching staff likes Denzel Boston, I think it'll be better overall than the Keon Coleman situation. So I think Denzel Boston should help the Bills organization. Niners. I think the Niners are going to end up going either edge rusher or wide receiver, and I think the next best wide receiver is Casey Concepcion. He plays like a Luther Burden, like a old Deebo Samuel, that fast, quick, be able to be that gadget wide receiver, or like a slot wide receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson, a Luther Burden, and Casey Concepcion, his game is right after that. And I think in that Niners offense with Kyle Shanahan, that will be utilized very well. Texans at 28, they need to help protect Stroud. That playoff game was horrible. Stroud constantly under pressure, threw all those interceptions. Most of them, 2 of them were his fault, yes, but he had a man in his face every single play. It was ridiculous. He could not breathe. So I think you take one of the best tackles on the board, 6'6", 315, can play left tackle, can play right tackle. You get Monroe Freeland. Rams up for a second time. They took McCoy first. And now you need to look at your other need. Same thing as the Texans. You need an offensive lineman. You want young offensive linemen. Keep Stafford on the field. Keep him healthy. Last year in the preseason, we didn't know if Stafford would even be able to play again with his back injury. And he went to the NFC Championship game this year and won MVP. So obviously he's got a lot of juice in him. You just got to be able to keep it on the field. So I think Blake Miller out of Clemson can be your left tackle or right tackle of the future for the Rams. And that also helps overall for your next QB coming in after Stafford's done however long that takes. Broncos. Denver is in a very good position going forward. Their rebuild has been incredible. Props to their GM. He's great. I think the only thing that they really have to do now is just keep depth. And I think with what their defense has and how much they have to pay guys going forward, you're really not, like, there's some positions that get left out. So I think you're looking linebacker or defensive tackle here, mainly in this first round, with what's left on the board. And I personally would take the upside of Caleb Banks. If he hits, he hits. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It's a great defense. You don't have to worry about this pick, whether or not it doesn't have to be a surefire hit, because you have the defensive line. And I think that alleviating that pressure will allow Caleb Banks to fully open his potential. Patriots. You got Kavon Chason is a free agent. I could definitely look to be taking an offensive lineman because of how bad that Super Bowl performance was. But I think it's just one game. Injuries as well. It's just one game. I'm not going to go around and, say the Patriots need to take an offensive tackle to move Campbell inside. I don't think that's the case here. I think you either take a wide receiver, because there's all these rumors around of them trading for A.J. Brown, or another wide receiver. I think that's a potential, but I think you just want to keep building that defense. And I think Akeem Mesidor out of Miami, he may be older, but for the Patriots are a championship contending team right now, and being a young player is not necessarily a need. Not necessarily a need for them. So I think getting Akeem Mesidor, even if he's 25 years old already, his talent is there, and I think Vrabel will be able to unlock it. Finally, we have the Super Bowl champions. They don't have really any holes. Could look for a wide receiver. I think if Casey Concepcion was on the board, that's a very high potential, with Cooper Kupp being a potential retirement candidate. I don't think any of these wide receivers are really first-round talents at this point before the combine. That could definitely change. Chris Brazil here, potential, maybe. I don't know. For sure, I don't think they're going to take a running back. I think most likely Kenneth Walker re-signs with them. Not going to take a quarterback. You're not going to take one of these tight ends. I think offensive lineman, guard specifically, is a high need. You have Anthony Bradford, who is not very good. So I think the Seahawks could take guard back-to-back years. And that is our full mock draft. I think overall this is very good. I think it fits a lot of needs. It's not really best player available type of thing. It's a lot more need-based draft. And I think before the combine, I think this is a pretty good draft. We're going to do one more draft with no trades after the combine this upcoming weekend, and then we're going to start doing trades in these mock drafts, and that will start to get fun. So overall, thank you for watching.